Talk about Carnoustie.
Yeah. Cold and.
I didn't want to say no.
Well, no, I did. We did, right? Yeah, we had plenty of liquor, so we, yeah, this is our first time there, so we. That's right. There's a difference. That's still. Wedding coming. My main job up here is their nudge rod, so I'll make sure it's not there.
Well, we can share it. I think there's some.
I have it. Okay.
Need me to grab anything?
No, no,
Are you good?
No?
Okay.
we're good, thank you.
We got everything. I think.
This was interesting. You can see this water part too.
Is it? Does anybody know whether or not Sylvia's going to be here? Did she call or anything?
We haven't heard.
Okay. Well, at that point, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we had a flag here the other day. What happened to it?
Right behind us.
Oh. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There she is. Hi. You hadn't called, and I figured you were going to be here, but you're cool. Okay. Michelle, do you take the roll?
Yes.
Go for it.
Member Burke?
Here.
Member Fig?
Here.
Member Nast?
Here.
Ex officio member Nordahl?
Here.
Vice Chair Schnapp? Here. Chair Spiegel?
Here. Okay. April 16th. It's recommended that the background analysis be received and filed. Is there anything, Steve, that you want to add to it? Or question, or what have you?
Madam Chair, we need to go through and approve the agenda.
Yes. You see the agenda there? Does yours have an agenda?
Yes,
Where?
right here. You can follow
I
mine.
didn't get an agenda. I'll
So,
live through it
right here.
all.
Item number
Mine came to
2.
recommendations. Well, this is the wrong place. Yes,
okay.
I would like an agenda.
There it is.
Oh, I had 3 things sent to me. Yes, the consent of the items on the agenda. You're calling for it?
Yeah, so I move to approve the agenda.
And I'll second it. Okay. The Business Water Reclamation Demonstration Facility Operational Report.
Yes.
We actually go through the consent agenda.
Once you've approved it?
So we do the agenda first, and then we go to item number 3, so go to each item. So you'll go item number 3, consent agenda, and then we move on those, and then you can come to item number 4.
Okay.
Well,
You-
we actually, on
Could
item
we-
number 2, I think we have a motion, and we're waiting a second.
I'll second approval
So
of
sh-
the agenda.
So she seconded
Oh,
it.
she did?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we just vote.
Now you take a vote on it.
Okay.
So we're back to
Or
here.
you can, there's an alternative, Madam Chair, you could just say, are there any objections?
I think that's what I did say, but okay.
Okay.
So you also go through the consent items in your procedures?
Yes.
Okay, so approval of minutes of January 16th, 2018 regular meeting.
So,
Anybody have, no?
so Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion here?
Sure.
On item number 2, I move to approve the agenda. You seconded it. You can ask all in favor, or you can say, are there any objections? If there are no objections, then we move on it. And then we come to item number 3, consent agenda. And then somebody can move to approve it and second it, and then you ask for, if there are any objections or a
Okay,
vote.
well, we did the
So we did the
agenda.
items.
So now we're going to go to the consent items of
And you can take
3A.
that as- Yeah, and the idea of consent is that because they're not controversial, we take however many there are as
Right.
a single item. And so you just vote on consent items, and it's one vote, and unless somebody has to pull one of the consent items for special comment or
Got it.
special vote, then you don't need to do them individually.
Is there anybody that would like to pull one, either A or B on the consent items? Nay. Then at that point, I move that we approve them. Well, okay, Michelle doesn't have to. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, so you have 5-0. Okay, excuse me. Down to 4 business items, the Brackish Water Reclamation Demonstration Facility Operational Report. Steve,
Yes,
You
ma'am.
wanna
Thank
add
you,
to that?
Madam Chair and members of the board.
what the hell happened here?
This month's report covers a 2-month period due to the March meeting being canceled as I was out of the country. This reporting period shows that the PHWA operated its facility at a level of 2.85 million gallons per day average, with a United supplying 85% of the water supply and Cayugas supplying 15% during this reporting period. We did operate in membrane production, and our SDIs, our silt density index, was below 1, which allows us to continue operation with the membranes. As you know, as reported before in previous board meetings, United Water Conservation District has modified their operations plan in their well fields. They've began to modulate the use of wells for shorter periods of times, which cycles the groundwater quality and allows for some internal groundwater recharge to occur within the basin. So that has allowed us to operate the facility with lower silt density indexes. We are hopeful that that will continue in the future. However, with summertime coming and demands going up, it may be more challenging for them to continue with that operation, and the high levels of iron and manganese that have resulted from the extended periods of drought could come back to our facility. If that's the case, then it's recommended that the PHWA would shut down the membrane facilities operation and go into bypass mode like we have done. But so far, so good. It's looking fine. We're just hopeful that it'll continue. The current water supply allocation plan does not show that we're in a deficit of water supply. Our demands are low enough, lower than our allocation, so for now, we're still meeting our demand without paying penalties. Sigma is coming into play in the near future, which is the Groundwater Sustainability Act, and there's been reports on that item most recently. However, last month, because I missed some meetings with the GMA, I did not prepare a Fox Canyon groundwater management update on the Sigma process. But if there's questions, I can, assuming the attorney would allow me to speak on that, I could maybe provide some information, even though it's not on the agenda. And with that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
16. I guess you don't have any questions. Okay. Board member report.
Madam Chair, can I
Oh,
ask?
I didn't see your
That's
hand,
okay.
sorry.
Can I ask a question?
No. Go right ahead.
So, thank you, Mr. Hickox. How many months has it been where we could operate the facility now?
Since, I believe it was the 3rd week of November 2017.
So that's a strong run
So
of
far.
several months. Very good.
And there's no indication that will stop in the near future, but however, with demands increasing during the summer, it may become more challenging.
How are we notified, if we're notified when the levels reach a certain, that kind of gray area for us?
The United Water Conservation District have been informed that if they are to modify their current operation or change back to a demand-required operation, then they would notify us that they have to start the deep wells. We would be on the lookout for the change in water quality, and then we would respond accordingly. In addition, we take 2 sample periods a day while we're staffed to ensure that the silt density index remains low enough and permissible to take into the membranes.
So it sounds like we have a process that we can react and respond quickly?
Correct.
Yeah.
However, those 2 sample checks are manually completed while the facility is staffed. So we're hopeful that we'll get the call from United, and then we'll be able to monitor from the facility until it arrives at us.
And when we see the demand start to peak, is that June, July, August, or?
It typically, the peak demand is September, October. However, we do start seeing, because of the June gloom type of weather that we get here at the coastal region, we'll see some low demand periods, April, May, June, and then July, August, it starts to creep up, and then September, October are typically the highest demands.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I had a question. I recently went to the Ojai Chautauqua panel on water at the Ojai Valley yesterday, and one of the items brought up was there was some negative impacts of the Thomas fire having to do with percolation and silt interfering with the percolation. Did United make any suggestion that they're not affected, or that it's a non-problem for them?
They have not notified us of any operational issue. Currently, they are not diverting water to the spreading grounds because there's no surface water to divert due to the lack of rain. They're not discharging water down the Santa Clara River from Lake Pyramid or Castaic Lake because of the 20% allocation of state water that's being mandated by DWR to all the allocation holders. So the water really isn't there to let go down the Santa Clara River. So their spreading operations, in essence, are not affected, not available.
Would it be safe to say it's in the category of TBD?
Yes, I would. In fact, there's a budget meeting next week with United staff, and they'll go over their capital improvement projects and their operating budget for the next fiscal year, and I'll be sure to make sure that that question is answered.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The board member reports and comments. Anybody have comments to bring to the board? Well, I have a comment, or actually a question comment. On page 7, if I have the right one, it gives a transaction of all the checks sent out for PHWA. And I have been, in my young years, I've been in 3 different boards, and in all of them, and this is the 4th, so all of them, there's always been the amount that comes in and the amount that goes out. I don't know if that is something that is deemed necessary or not. I know 2 of the boards were in LA, and this board and our board at Channel Islands Beach, we do that. And it's just a matter to see what monies are coming in. I mean, it gives you a better idea of what's happening. I mean, knowing all this money is going out, I'm sure it's, that's what goes out, but I'd like to know what's coming in to the board and how it's done. Is there any reason that this wouldn't be okay? Steve?
Yes, I just checked with the finance director for the city, who is also the finance director for the PHWA, and he says with board direction, they could include that in the report.
You could. So is there anybody else besides myself who is interested in that as a board?
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing like a cash flow analysis,
Right.
not too much in depth.
No, just to know what money is going out. We know what money is going out, but what's coming in. Is there anybody else? Well, since we need three,
You know, that might not be
okay, so that's
too
three.
difficult. I wouldn't want us to give a, you know, really huge item, because I think we see that when we see a budget. But maybe an ongoing, like, you know, the revenues coming in and, you know, these disbursements going out.
What is revenue? Since I'm-
Revenue?
Oh, revenue, got it, sorry. Got it. Okay, at this point then, I'd like to make the movement to have it changed. Is there any discussion on this, one way or the other? Okay, then in voting, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. And all
Mad-
those opposed?
Madam, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All those opposed? Well, at this point, then, according to the vote, I guess we can start doing that. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, could I get some clarification? The revenue is currently shown as a projected revenue per month in the budget, and would the board prefer to see the projected budget revenue, or would you prefer to see actual revenue collected? Because that will change, when the money is recorded as
Absolutely.
actually received and accounted for versus what was expensed in this month. So,
Well, what's happening in the budget, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the actual payments in and payments out. I'd like to know, you know, what's happening during the month.
Yeah, for the water authority, I think there's only about 6 customers. So, you know, you'd be able to summarize that information up as it comes available. But I don't think it would be indicated as to who is paid and who hasn't paid. But we could give an actual revenue to date.
No, I'm not thinking so much of the revenue today. I'm talking about monies that come in.
Well,
When
the only money that
monies
comes
come
in is when we
what?
bill all the different authority members.
Okay,
That's the only
Customers.
revenue that comes in.
okay.
Just from our customers, the PHWA customers.
Yeah, which
Right.
is only
That's what
about
he's
6 or
saying.
7. I
That
can't
come
remember
in.
off the top of my
And
head.
money's going out?
That's what you see on your transaction listing there.
Right here.
And you're telling me that there's no other monies that go out for PUA? Nuts and bolts? And
During this time period, this
Getting
was the only
fixed.
checks that went out. It's a lot different than the city in the sense that we have, say, 4,000 customers,
Yeah.
5,000 customers in the city, and all those get billed monthly, and whereas the water authority, you send out a wholesale bill, and then that comes in that way.
Well, no, but as far as the clients, it could just say revenue from the clients.
Well, the clients
And
are,
that summation put down that number. Akbar?
I just want to briefly add some clarity to the request. I think it'll make it easier for you folks putting this together. This transaction entry shows all the disbursements from February 10th to April 6th. I think what Chair Spiegel's looking for is, it may only be 6 line items. That just shows any incoming revenues during that same time period and what the dollar amount is at the bottom, much like you have in the table already on the page. There's an understanding that yeah, there might be some differential between actual cash accounting versus accrual accounting, and that's fine. But if you follow the same methodology that you have up top as the one down below, I think that'll meet Director Spiegel's request. Does that help?
yeah, it'd basically just be whatever revenue billings have been collected so far.
Right. And that's fine. I think there's
Yeah.
an understanding that, you know, some months there might be a payment that hasn't come through the door quite yet, and then maybe it'll be higher the next month. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And if that can be included, I think, Chair Spiegel, that addresses your concern?
Yes, I would just have an idea of where the monies are coming from.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Mr. Hickok said, that table is going to be only, 5 or 6 lines long, with the understanding that, this isn't a residential purveyor here, but rather a wholesale agency. So If anything, it'll make it a little bit more simplistic than, say, your average residential purveyor.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Bob?
I don't have anything more.
Mr. Fig? You're so quiet. So quiet. Bob? Nothing?
Nothing for me.
Okay, so at this point, we have a new general manager. Can you tell us something about yourself, since maybe you did last at your city meeting? I don't know anything about you. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, you mean our deputy city
Yes.
manager?
Good evening, honorable board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. My name is Linda Catherine Lee. I recently joined the city as a new deputy city manager 4 weeks ago. City Manager Butley sends his regards and his respect to all of you this evening. Unfortunately, he's been called for jury duty in San Bernardino, and he won't be able to get back here in timely. But I can assure you we're making a great partnership around the city. I enjoy working with the city staff. In the last 4 weeks, I've had an opportunity to meet with many staff and plan to continue to do many site visits in the coming weeks to learn more about the city that we come to love very dearly. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you. My background is in finance, human resource, and performance management. Prior to coming to the city, I was the Administrative Services Director for the City of Murrieta. And prior to that position, I was the County Ventura Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector, working directly with the elected, honorable elected Stephen Hintz. So I bring all of those wealth of knowledge to bring here and to serve my new city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Yes. Good luck. Well, at this point, okay, the general manager to report and comments, and I'm assuming they mean you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chair Spiegel. Only one quick item I want to bring up to the board this evening, and that is just a general express gratitude of and being thankful for Steve's help in getting us to do the baseline testing that Director Nast had asked for at the Beach District level and making that happen. We had a nice visit with the operations staff over at the plant, and it was a test that took all of maybe an hour to accomplish, and in that time we were shown around and got to ask some questions as we toured the plant. So thank you for helping to make that happen, and to your staff for accommodating us.
No problem.
Director Nast, do you have anything to add as far as that experience?
Yes, thank you very much. It's hard to say how much effort and time's gone into this, but it's not mission accomplished. This is an ongoing effort, but we really want to thank you for allowing this to happen and to go forward, and I think it's going to be a good return on investment in the future. Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem.
All right. Oh, Lord.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I make a comment or an announcement?
Yes.
I'm here today to inform the board that I have submitted my application for retirement effective April 30th of this year. It was through a lengthy discussion, but the decision was made that my application would be submitted. So I know it's a short notice for this board. The Public Works Director will be looking to find a suitable replacement as quickly as possible, but I just wanted to at least let you know that this will be my last board meeting with the PHWA, and thank you for allowing me to provide service to you.
Thank you.
May I say something? Steve, I don't know what we could have done without you during these last couple of years. Your service has been just absolutely incredible in terms of commitment and dedication, knowing that you not only serve the residents of Port Hueneme through what you do here for the city, but you also serve a much broader regional perspective about water quality, et cetera, just everything else. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your commitment and dedication.
You're welcome.
All right. New business to be agendized. Yes.
I don't have anything. No.
Is there anybody else who has something they'd like to be put on the agenda for next month?
Can I make one suggestion? We're going to receive the results of that baseline testing that Director Nast was just describing within about probably 14 calendar days from today. I think just to receive and file that report at the PHWA level would be nice. And of course, we'll do the same thing at the Beach District as well.
So at that point, what business would we have for next month?
There will be an operational report and the analysis of the water quality sampling that was requested. And I am hopeful that maybe Akbar could provide some information regarding the advancement of the Sigma process in moving forward. So there should be a few items to report on.
So
Very
to
good.
that exact point, I've had just brief comments or brief talks with some of the executive staff of the city of Port Hueneme for the GSP development and the municipal and industrial group that meets to discuss these proposals. I could then write those items and present them in Steve Steed until they find a replacement to do those things. So certainly up to the task, and we'll keep the ship afloat until we find someone.
Okay.
I do know that Mr. Villafana is in communications with a couple individuals to see if there is an opportunity to could provide some service.
Very good. Thank you. If there's no more business to be had, we're adjourned.
We can do
What?
open forum?
Oh, definitely. Open for, I didn't see anybody.
It's okay.
Sorry, sir. Yes, is there anybody here who has anything to speak about, anything that was not on the agenda who'd like to speak? No? No? Since there's none, what do we have now? We're ready to adjourn and have our next meeting on May 21st at 4 p.m.